Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Viva Open Forum training session. I have started the webinar. So I have some plans for today's session, but I welcome any questions that you guys might have. I don't know how many of you have upgraded from the SHS program to the new Viva version. This update is free, off charge, and it represents a sort of overall facelift to the program as well as improvements in speed and logic in the back of the program. That really helps with the global search, more accuracy and speed. And also, there is a new Kingdom Graph section. We continue to work on the program, and there will be updates from time to time. There are also, with this update, there are some add-on modules which you might have heard about and which I introduced in the last training session. Genie, NoteSync, RepMaker, Smart Reader, and Deep View. And what I thought today was for those who have some of these add-on modules, and for those that don't, that I would do a little bit of a demo for two of the modules. And so you can see how they work and whether they would be helpful to you in your practice. And also, if you've already got them, then this might give you an insight on how to use them. So I thought I would show you how to work NoteSync, which is the ability to add your own notes into the program and then make them searchable. So I'm hoping that you all have used the global search bar now in the Synergy program. And if you add your own notes into the program, you can search them using the search terms in global search, which is really exciting. And I know that all of us attend seminars and take notes in school, and I still have my school notes from way back when. And I keep collecting these things, and sometimes I go back because I remember that amazing case from somewhere, or Annette's notes on C remedies, or different things. So I sometimes do access them, but pretty much, to be very honest, they sit in my hard drive. And what this does is you can add them into your program and make them searchable. And so whatever you're looking for, the program will search those notes for you, and you either won't leave them lying around or have to search through them manually for some idea that you have. So I think it's a great add-on module. I want to show that. And then I also, if we have time, I will show you RepMaker, which is much more specific and a little bit unique. But I think that if you're building knowledge on a clinical basis, which may not be represented in classical materia medica or is absent because you're seeing those cases and you're seeing things come up again and again for a certain remedy, you might want to make those changes in the materials you use. So that is also helpful. Okay, so this is how it opens with Genie, which I'm going to get out of because we're not going to do that today. Okay, so the way you access NoteSync is here in edit mode up at the top. When you click on NoteSync, on edit mode, you can see you have two choices. These are the two ways in which you can edit and customize your program. I mean, there's others, but these are two things here in edit mode. I'm going to click on NoteSync. And you can see at the bottom of the program, it says NoteSync is active, and it opens this NoteSync window. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add a book. You can also, I'm going to just click on here. You can add, I don't know, if you're proving a remedy or you make your own remedies and you have some remedies that are not in the program, you can also do that here. Or if you want to add a section that is not generally part of Materia Medica books, you can also do that. We'll just do the book part today because I don't have a remedy that is not in the program that I would want to add. But I'm sure there are people who do that. So let's just add a book. You can name the book. So every document that you add into the program under NoteSync, is going to be called a book, even if it's approving or they're your lecture notes, or they're seminar notes, whatever, or they're a book that you downloaded from the internet, even. They're all called books. So those are the three. I mean, any piece of literature is basically a book. And then the book name can be, and I'm going to say Roopali editions. Okay, I'm just going to call it that. You have the choice to add material to a specific remedy with a specific remedy. So let's say you're adding fluoric acid, something on fluoric acid. So then what we would do is we would choose that remedy so that the information can be assigned or that material can be assigned to that remedy so that when you open your reference library, either under books or under remedies, that material would be assigned to the right remedy. So I'm going to, let's say I'm going to add a piece on fluoric acid. Now, for sections, these are the general sections, right? Introduction, natural history, general information, generalities, cases. So here there are, and then of course you have all of your chapters from a repertory or from the entire corpus. So you can also obviously be very specific if you have that kind of specific information. I'm just going to use general because I'm going to add some materia medica. And I'm going to say continue. So then when I hit continue, this box opens up where I have the possibility to do some limited formatting. And I'm going to paste the material that I want to add. Let me see. I have some notes here on acids. And they're from back when I was in school. They're from another homeopath. And so these are like 15, 20 years old. So let's see. So I'm going to take the fluoric acid information. Okay, let's go down. And then there's some relationships here. I'm going to do Command C on a PC. You can do Control C. You can also come up here in the edit menu and copy from there. Then I'm going to come back here and I'm just going to do a Command V. And you see it kept some of the formatting that was in my notes and it pasted this information. I'm going to say save. And so now you get a pop-up that says saving your changes. Please don't do anything, of course. And now my changes were saved. So I'm going to reload. And so you get the reload screen. And so ignore these pop-ups. They're from the update. And we'll close this again. And so now when we go into the reference library and we go into books, and I'm just going to search, hopefully. So you see my book shows up that I added. And we have Floricum acidum. When I click on this, here is the information that I pasted. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up something, and this is obviously a bit more contrived because I want to show you how it shows up in global search. So I'm going to say physical hunger within 5 words of sexual. Okay, and then let's see. Same sentence. Let's see if that will pick it up. So you see there is a physical hunger for food as well as sexual hunger. The book is my book. When I hover over it, you should be able to see it at the bottom of the screen. And that's the remedy that I added, actually. And then when I hover, you see, actually, that's Joy Lucas's book, right? And this also in the program. So this other reference also picks it up, which is obviously because it's the exact same sentence. So good. So you can see now how this information is searchable. So you could take all of your notes and add them up. Let me show you. So here's the book. Now, obviously, you could go back and say you attend another seminar and somebody shows a wonderful case of fluoric acid. You could come back here and say you can either add it as a case, so you would add it again. Your book name could be anything, Rupali's Cases, for example. Your remedy would still be fluoric acid, and in section you can then choose cases, or you could come back here and say edit, choose books to edit, and then the book that I've added will come up. And now you can add, fluoric acid cases, and then again, you would get that copy and paste window. You could paste your case in there, and so you could continue to build on your fluoric acid information. And in the same way, you could add other bits and pieces that you have that you would like to use on a daily basis and not have them just sit in your hard drive. So I think this is a wonderful addition. I think it's something that whether you're a student or a teacher or a homeopath, that you would use this. It does obviously take a little bit of time. You see, it didn't take that much time to add one reference. It takes a little bit of time to add everything and to make sure that you're assigning it to remedies in case you want them to be searchable by remedy. But once you get it all set up, it's really very useful. The other thing that is good here is that you could come to user preferences, and when you come to backup restore, you can back up all of this. So let's go to backup. And then you see it asks you, are you backing up your cases, your additions here in NoteSync and RepMaker, or Smart Reader notes? So you could, all of the things, all of the notes that you add to your program, and we haven't done RepMaker, but all of the changes, for example, also that you make to a repertory, you can back up and keep. And then if you update your program or you change your computer or you have a crash or whatever, you can restore all of that information and that work that that time you spent putting all that work in to add these things. So you also have that sort of safety. No, Jessica. So Jessica is asking, are these add-in notes individual or can a user access others' notes? No, these notes are saved in your machine, in your program, and you back them up. Just like your cases are stored in your machine, in your program. They are not accessible to anyone else. If you wanted to share your notes or somebody wanted to share their notes with you, they would just share the Word document or the text file or the PDF, and then you could add them. But you wouldn't be able to open your program and see your colleagues' notes in the program. That will not happen. What if it is a bunch of remedies from a week-long lecture? Okay, so you have two options, Kat. One is that you could just take that entire chunk of information and put it in and decide not to do it for a specific remedy. And then in your search term, I mean, I don't know, depending on if you're looking for incomplete evacuation or in the same remedy as hernia, whatever, depending on what your search is, hopefully it'll pick up the right bit of information. And then what you will have to do is it will not show the remedy that information is connected to. So you would have to double click on that reference search that comes up result, and then you could read through and see which remedy it was assigned to. The other option is obviously to break it up according to remedy and put it in by remedy. And that's a little bit more work, but then on the back end, when you do your search, you can see very quickly when the results come in, you'll be able to see which remedy it's assigned to. So that's the only sort of difference. Okay, so Lisa is asking, how do I make the global search bar give me a word within 3 words of another word? When I press the space bar, I get only sentence, para, remedy, section, etc. So here, you press the space bar when you want sentence, para, section, and remedy. And then when you want a specific number of words, then you just use your keyboard to type that number. So within 4 words, I just press the number 4 key. And then you type your next, whatever it is. So there, so const constipation within 3 words of chronic, so just use the number key. Okay. Um, Claudia, I can't put a book in. Of course you can put a book in. You can, I was just trying to say, don't get confused if it says book and book name and you're putting in approving. It's basically calling any piece of literature you put in a book. So that's it. Yes, Claudia, you can make your own book. I mean, they're all mini books. Basically, the program is treating them as mini books. Jennifer, I did a small kind of overview of all of Viva and the modules last time. So Genie is the module that is sort of like a homeopathic assistant. It's an AI assistant trained on a homeopathic model, just unlike ChatGPT, which is trained on everything in the internet. This is trained only on homeopathy books. And you can just chat with it. Unlike global search, where you have a certain protocol in which you have to type the search terms. Let me show you. We can do a short. Okay, so let's do here and let's do. So you can see there's a whole menu here. We can, if there's interest, I can go over Genie again in the next session. But here, so give differentiating symptoms of pulsatilla and Staphylococcus aureus. So you can sort of basically type in anything as a chat. You don't have to have a specific way of wording your question or your query. You can put in anything that you're thinking about. I can also show you some of my old chats. You can see just like so there's, so we'll do this short search while it's doing that, and I'm going to see what else. So I have turned on the new Viva for the first time after adding my rubrics. No graph is visible. Okay, I will show you how to do that, Bev. So you see, it gives you that information. And so instead of going hunting in the program and then synthesizing it and developing it kind of gives you a synopsis of these two things. I don't remember why I might have been asking for postpartum depression rubrics, but so you see here, I said, give me rubrics for postpartum depression, and it will, instead of going and hunting through them, it gave me, 10 rubrics, and it said, and then I can always type and say, well, give me more, or, give me more around sleeplessness. So it's a chat bot that is trained homeopathically that will access information, homeopathic information. If you ask, if you ask Genie, who's the president of America, it will not give you the right answer. So don't ask general information questions. This is a homeopathic assistant. And so if you just want to see your clipboard, then you can click the right-hand side chevron and you only see your clipboard. And I know from working with people, a lot of people don't like to see the graph or be influenced by the remedies that are coming up. They just want to build their clipboard. And once their clipboard is built to their satisfaction, then they want to go and see the graph, which is how it used to be in MacRepertory. It was not simultaneous. And then you can see your graph. And if you feel there's not enough room, you want to see more remedies, then you can hide your clipboard and you can just see your graph. And then obviously that way you can see a lot more remedies. You can move this over and you can see a lot more remedies. So I generally kind of leave both open. And that's how it is. So try this. Okay. So notes are not automatically backed up. Well, I mean, your notes will stay in your program, and every time you open, Peggy is asking notes are not automatically backed up. They are backed up in the sense that if you added notes today and you open your program tomorrow, they'll still be there. But just like you back up your cases in the event of a crash or you accidentally deleted your program because you were going to install a newer, better version or something. It's like one of those safety contingencies. Then, or you changed your database, or you added a new book, or you bought a higher version, like you went from foundation to professional or visionary, and that changed your database out. Then when you do that, your books are in your database. So if you've backed them up, once you update your program or change out your database, you can restore your cases and your books back to the program. So that's what the backing up is for. Okay, good. Okay, so you can speak to Genie here. You see voice search. And then when I click on it, it says select a language. You can speak to Genie in whatever language you choose. And I've done a demo before where I think I spoke in French and then I spoke in Hindi, and it will give you the answers back in the same language. So if you're not a native English speaker, which is, the program that I have, then the advantage of this is that you can ask Genie to do things for you in your own language. So for today, we'll stick to English. I'll say English. And now it's listening. So Genie, what are the differences between pulsatilla and staphysagria? There. I think I was still talking the last time and it got confused. So it will just, can you yes, of course, Lisa. So Lisa is asking for non-Genie owners how to manually compare pulsatilla and staphysagria remedies. So I will show you there are multiple ways to do that in the program. And so of course, as I said, the program is self-sufficient, right? It can do all these things in many different ways. And if you know your program well, then that's great, and your program will give you everything you need. And these are some add-on things that make things easier, that it keeps up with the technology that's out there. And it just eases certain things. But let me show you. If you click the three, yes, okay, thank you, Mandy. So if you click the three dots here, you can see you get a delete pop-up. Okay, so let me show you if you don't have Genie, and we'll just minimize, we'll get rid of this. So here we go. So there are many, many different ways to compare two remedies. You can obviously, let's go here, right? You can apply a filter. So let's say you love using the repertory and that's basically how you work. So you can go here and you can just, so this will take a long time. So actually, you know what? Let me do it just for a small section. So here we go. Let's say you're comparing the vertigo between pulsatilla and staphysagria. Okay, you have a patient, feels like they need a ranunculacia remedy, could be pulsatilla or staphysagria, it's too close. You want to see the vertigo rubrics. Let me show you all the different ways in which you can do that. So you're going to open the vertigo chapter and come to filter. And in remedy, you're going to type pulse, apply. And then you're going to type staff, apply, and then let's see the remedies. And so now You can see the vertigo chapter and you can see the rubrics for both of them. So now this is one way to look at it. Another way, which I like much better, is to come to advanced search. Everybody has advanced search, and you go to compare remedies. And now in compare remedies, you come up here and you choose your remedies. I'm choosing the same two remedies. As I choose the remedies, they come down here. You can see. Now I can do the same thing. I can leave them both as pluses and we'll keep the complete because that's what we chose the first time. We'll choose the vertigo. And what I like to do is to tell the program, show me the rubrics in the vertigo chapter that appear for pulsatilla, but not for staph. So you can choose to see the vertigo rubrics that both are in. That is what this will do. If you want, let's run it so you can see. Now, these are the rubrics that both pulsatilla and staph aureus are in to different degrees. Sometimes the same degree, but sometimes, one is stronger than the other. We can run the same search, and I like this much better. So your old search is still there. What I'm going to do is now say, give me the rubrics in the vertigo chapter that only pulsatilla is in and not staph aureus. So I'm going to turn staph aureus into a minus. That means these are specific vertigo rubrics that only pulsatilla appears for. And I don't want to override the previous search, so I'm going to hit the plus sign. And now you can look at, these are the vertigo rubrics that only apply to pulsatilla and not staph aureus is not in these rubrics. And then what I would want to do is do the exact same search again, but reverse it and say, show me the vertigo rubrics for staph aureus that pulsatilla is not in. Okay. And then hit the plus sign. And now, so you can see already very quickly that pulsatilla is a bigger vertigo remedy than staph aureus. And now you can see also there is intoxication, motion aggravates, and turning. There's a lot of turning for staph aureus. And when you look at the pulsatilla rubrics, because it's a much bigger vertigo remedy, you're going to have more, so there's more falling instead of turning. That one was more turning. You can study the individual rubrics within a particular pathology or a particular section that are exclusively for that remedy. And I use this function a lot, especially when I'm comparing or doing a differential diagnosis between two remedies and there is a strong pathology in that case. You can really look at the individual pathology rubrics for that remedy and compare it to the other remedy. The other time I really like this is when I'm looking at two smaller remedies that are also close or at least belong to the same grouping, but I don't have much experience with them. So then in that case, of course, you can do it for different sections, but for me, I understand the remedy almost always through the mind section, to the picture of the remedy. And so I really like to use the mind section and say, give me the exclusive mind rubrics for this remedy compared to this other remedy. And mind you, in this case, I'm not very familiar with either of them. And this helps me really understand those two remedies. I wouldn't do like pulsatilla and staph aureus are both very, very big remedies. And of course, one of them is a polycrust. So if you do that for the mind section, you're going to get, it's still useful to study. It's not something I would do because I know those two remedies. And you're going to get a huge result. But it's still, if you're studying any remedy, I really find this very useful to compare two remedies. This advanced search compare remedies option. I find this a really useful function. Um, and it helps me really understand exclusively what is the essence of this remedy, either mind or in another chapter, that is completely different, because these are the rubrics that this other remedy does not appear in, and vice versa. So you can, it's a very beautiful comparative function. And of course, this is also very much in depth, as opposed to what Genie will give you. Genie will give you a quick sort of overall synopsis. And, like, if you say, give me remedies for tendinitis of the left shoulder, it will give you five different remedies, and then you can very quickly see. So it's a different use for Genie versus this. Okay, so let's see what other questions. Jennifer's asking, I'm using the Complete 24. Is this an add-on? Uh, if you have the Complete 20, yes. So Roger Van Zandvoort, who puts together the Complete, releases an update every year. He hasn't one this year. It's the first year he hasn't yet. But he releases an update every year. If you have ever bought a Complete, then you can just update to the most recent Complete for a fairly nominal amount. So if you have the 2020, for example, you don't have to buy the 21, 22, and 23. You can just update directly to the 24. And I can have Karen. So Jennifer's asking, how do I do that? You can write to Karen Egan, sales at Synergy Homeopathic, or I can have her write to you, and just update to the 2024. So Leon is asking, please, can you show once more shortly how to do the advanced search? Sure. Okay, so let me show you. So we'll get rid of this, and this. So advanced search here, there are different options in advanced search. You can search and look up families. So let's say you're trying to learn more about the Ranunculaceae family, which is where Pulsatilla staphysagria are from. Then you can ask to look at, so let me show you actually. And let's use a smaller repertory so that the rubrics come up faster. So let's go here, and then I will type there. So we've got Ranunculaceae, and we'll take Cronquist and say apply. And then I'm not going to do all sections. Let's do a smaller section again, because then, we'll be just waiting while the program is running the search. And so I'm going to, so you see how many remedies are in there. What it's going to show you, although Vertigo doesn't give you an idea. So let's do mind. Let's see how long it runs. Search. Okay, that was not bad. So here now you've got all the mind rubrics for the Ranunculaceae family. Not every single remedy in all the families, but any that have, more than one. And so this can help you sort of study the mind rubrics of the family. And you can obviously do the same thing for any section in any repertory to study that. You can study remedies this way. You can compare remedies, which is what I was showing, which is what Lisa was asking about. And this I find really useful. So actually, let me show you what I did last time. So we'll cancel this out. This was the old search that I ran. And I'm going to type, let's see if this comes up. Hydrophis. Uh, yep. Okay, so this one, So hydrophis is a water snake, Cynocinctus. And then I was comparing it to another water snake because my patient needed a water snake. And I had not prescribed water snakes before. And so this is another one, which is the old literature calls it toxicophis, but now I think they're calling it Chistrodon piscivorus. Um, so apply. And so here are these two water snakes, which I didn't know very much about. I didn't know what the differences were. There were some, sense of physical differences. And so what I did was to look at the mind section of one versus the other. Um, and so you can see, so this one is hydrophis, and then I'm going to run the same search again, and this time I want to see the Achistrodon mind rubrics. And actually, if you read through them, you can see that one snake is much darker. And there's, more sadness, suicidal. If you read through both of them, you can see that, oh, I overwrote this. I should have hit the plus sign. But one snake is actually much darker, broodier, suicidal than the other one. And then you can also obviously compare the delusions. You can look at the dreams. And so in that way, you can really at least help yourself to begin to understand and separate out the differences between the two snakes. Because obviously, if you look at the overall mind rubrics of both that both are in, it doesn't help you differentiate between the two. And if there are small remedies, you're not going to have a lot of pathology. But of course, based on your patient's pathology, you can also compare those sections. But this is how I generally use advanced search. Is for me the most useful function here is the compare remedies. So, okay, could you please ask Genie to suggest remedies indicated for respiratory allergies, specifically triggered by molds? Of course, we can try that. So remember, this is a chatbot. So the first way that you type that question may not elicit. So you have to refine your search. You have to keep asking um, till you get the information that you want. So we can do a new chat. If you're also, if you're looking for remedies for a particular clinical condition, you can also just go here and say, give top remedies for the following condition. And I'm going to say, so, you have not specifically, Prafulla, you have not specifically indicated how the respiratory system is affected. You have just said respiratory allergies. So I'm assuming there's some component of impeded respiration from the allergies or asthma. So it would be good, like, it depends. So I'm going to put respiratory allergies and then see what it says, and then refine it by saying triggered by molds and fungi. So we'll see what it gives. So here's the answers coming up. So allium. So I mean, this is a very broad question. Obviously, respiratory allergies. There's no specifics here. There's no modalities. The top response is allium, natrum mur, silica, kali iodatum, and sabadia. Sabadia, obviously, for the sneezing. And then, I mean, some of these, it's self-evident. Um, and then it's saying, would you like to see a comparison between all these remedies? So I'm going to say, can you give me remedies for respiratory allergies aggravated by mold, and fungus. And let's see if the answers are any different. But you would have to keep sort of refining the search. You could also put in modalities. I think after this search is run, I'm going to show you, let's see. So we still got allium, natrum. You see, because you can't say whether uh, these remedies would or would not be effective. I mean, it could be aggravated by anything, right? These are specifically remedies for that it's suggesting for respiratory issues. Um, Generally, causation is not something we take into account in homeopathy. Whether it's triggered by a pollen or a mold, I don't know that that would change the remedy per se, because the remedy is indicated based on symptoms, and not the cause of those symptoms. Okay, so let's see. What other questions are there? Would you do the advanced search once more? Sure. Yes, I can do that. Okay, so I'm assuming that everybody is asking for the compare remedies piece of it, but is there, if, I mean, because advanced search has other things in it. Um, so let me know. I'm assuming you're asking me to do the compare, how to compare remedies. I will show us it all. Jennifer, we have 5 minutes left. So I can't show it. I mean, okay, so listen, we did families, right? So this is really, you can choose a family or a grouping, right? So let's get rid of this one and I'll show you something simpler. And so we'll do serpents. Let's do serpents, right? If you've never given, and I'm sure a lot of you are experienced homeopaths, so it's not like you've never given a snake remedy or never given, or if you work with families and groupings, then you understand those. This kind, like, for families, either if it's a family you haven't worked with and you don't know the characteristics of that family, or if you're a student and learning families and groupings for the first time, this is really useful. Okay, so and then the same thing, let's get out of here. The same thing for remedies, right? Looking at specific remedy information by section, you can obviously do that here. Let's get out of here. You can definitely limit it here. You can limit the entire repertory module through this main filter here to a family or a remedy. And then all your repertories and chapters are going to be limited by that family or remedy. So you can study like that as well. You can obviously also go here and look for families or remedies here, right? You can, this is also something that I find very useful, is to come up here and say serpents, let's say, okay, apply. And now the only remedies that you have showing on the left hand, and look how many there are. Man, when I started, there were like maybe 10 or 12. So now you can see these are all snake remedies. Okay, if you're looking for a smaller snake, it doesn't feel like some of the main ones, right? This is a good way to say, okay, what snake remedies do I have in the program? Or the first time I did this a few years ago was when I was prescribing a bird, and I didn't know what bird remedies were in the program. And you can come up here in remedies and filter and put in a filter that says birds, and then you can see all the bird remedies in your program. Um, because I work extensively with groupings, actually, this is not really that helpful for me. So I would probably come here and put in, I don't know, Crotalidae, like, just look at the Crotalidae group of remedies. So here we need the kingdom, and then put in, and then, I'm looking at just the crotality remedies, or I'm looking at the elapids, or, so even smaller groupings and seeing what snakes there are. Or for birds, you can do that with smaller, like passeriforms, or, eagles, or whatever you're looking for. So there's many ways to filter and learn about groups or individual remedies. I find this advanced, like this compare remedies in this unique way to show you the unique rubrics about one remedy that the other remedy is not in. So it's really exclusive and it shows you the completely individualized picture of that remedy. That is what I find useful with compare remedies. Um, so, okay, so there's, let's see, extremities. Let's do extremities. So there's a lot of like contractures and issues with emaciation. And so let's do, did I pass by? Here we go, extremities. And let's do one versus the other. So we'll do search, and then we'll do the search again. This time, so let's see, which one did I do? Hydrophis. So this time we'll do Akistrodon. And remember always to do the plus sign, otherwise you lose the first search. So again, you can see Akistrodon is, in this case, it has a smaller extremity section, and Hydrophis has a much, wow, that's like several screens. So like almost 3 screens of extremities. So you already know if you have an issue, your patient has an issue with extremities, you already know one is the larger remedy for this or present more strongly than the other one, right? And then you can check the actual rubrics. So you know these rubrics only Acastrodon has. The other one doesn't have. And these rubrics only Hydrophis has and the other one doesn't. So of course the one problem becomes if one remedy is much larger than the other one, then I mean, should you be giving the one that that's indicated more strongly for this issue, or should you look for the exact group of symptoms? So that, I mean, you're obviously it doesn't just come down to the pathology. You also have to look at the mind and concomitants to see which might suit your patient better. But this gives you the exclusive rubrics for that remedy that the other one doesn't have when you're doing differential diagnosis. And I've also done it with 3 different remedies. So, you can do as many as you want here. But obviously, like you wouldn't consider 4 remedies. When you come right down to it, you're really looking at 2 remedies, maybe 3, but generally only 2. And so this will give you the exclusive area, that really individualized for that remedy. Okay. Um, Okay, so yes. Okay, thank you. I'm going to see. Yes, you can correct the name of a book with that edit function. Then let's see. The books from Dr. Mahesh Gandhi, we have the foundation book, and in Ref Plus are all his charts, actually. So the actual visuals in the book from Foundation that show you the different charts, that's what you get in Ref Plus. And that's the session for today. Thank you so much for attending and for all your wonderful questions. If I did not answer anything or if I missed it and it was on the chat, then message me, like email me directly. It's my first name at Synergy Homeopathic. And I'm assuming everyone knows how to spell it, but I will put it here, Roopali at Synergy Homeopathic. Okay, .com.